honestly thought whether I should make this video at all. Anyway, I am. There's the Black Lives Matter stuff going on, Black Lives Matter, and that's more important. So I'm gonna start off by just saying that I'll leave links to videos in the description, which you can watch, which donates its AdSense to Black Lives Matter. They've had a few problems, but I hope it's still up there and stuff. I don't know how many people's gonna watch this, if any. I thought to make this directly to Jk Rowling, but I doubt she's gonna watch it. Anyway, just wanna say it. So I've said it, you know. I'll start off some of the things I'm going to be saying about now. Some facts come from this book. This book I definitely recommend. Factfulness. It is an optimistic view of the world, which is nice. I mean, it's top 5 easy of my favorite books ever. So, yeah. If there's anything positive in this video, it's this. Okay. Jk Rowling. I understand that you stand up for women, and I can certainly see the need in doing that. Women over 30 have globally only received 9 years of school, whereas men have received 10. Only 60% of girls in low-income countries in the world go through 5th grade in school. When it comes to birth control, they are not always wildly accessible. Although this was much better before the corona crisis than it has been even before that. I don't know how it is now because the world's strange and it's hard to keep up. And of course, the gender pay gap, which is, but is not limited to, equal pay for equal work. It is also to change the norms so that males have the opportunity to be at home with their kids as much as females. It is that females working full-time when having had a child can be seen as normal instead of being seen as the woman abandoning her child. The family structure do not always look the same. It don't always have to change, but the opportunity for each individual family to be able to make this change should not be denied. Fathers who are allowed to be at home with their children as much as mothers have the opportunity to develop a strong connection to their child in their early stages. And mothers who work full-time after having had a child have the opportunity to find who they are outside of being a mother, which can strengthen the families overall. I understand there are many things that still need to change in order for women not to be seen as second to men. But when you say that a person having a period used to be called a woman, it seems you have too narrow a view of what it means to be a woman. A larger percentage of women professional athletes have an irregular period or lose them, at times even entirely. Are these women considered less of a woman for not having a period? No. How about women who have yet to get their period or cannot get it without medical help or at all? Are these considered less women? No. Are trans women considered less women because they were born in bodies which do not reflect who they are on the inside? No. I understand that you want to fight for women to be seen as equal. Please do. I do not know all that you have done, and I don't know what you will do. But what I can see as the bigger threats against women's equality today is probably coronavirus, racism, police brutality, the 3 strikes and you're out law, the political manipulation to enforce racism, and, well, a precedent that has been praised by the KKK, climate change. And because climate change is not going to affect people proportionately, it's going to affect certain people more than others. It's going to have a disproportionate effect on people. And women, especially in poor countries, are going to be affected most. Women and children. That is a huge thing. Please try to understand that. When you talk about climate change, you cannot talk about climate change without talking about racism and economical classes. Climate change affects everything, more or less. Birth control not being readily accessible, so women get pregnant with children they simply cannot afford to feed. Education not being as accessible to girls or women as it is to boys or men, and the education not being catered to these women the way that they are catered to men. Often women are not educated to know their own rights, such as what birth control really is for, or simple things like how to grow their own food, or how to take a hold of household economy. It's ridiculous how many things we're not focusing on, which affect women, especially. Well, it affects everyone actually, but when you don't value women, not valuing the potential humanity has. Abuse of some sort, often violent and or sexual, and not understanding or believing that they have the right to use the resources readily accessible to them, or in some cases not having resources readily accessible to them. Maybe they don't have access to a phone, although that is rare since more people on the planet have access to a phone than to a toilet. Or they live under a government who simply do not value women. However, a lot of governments who have previously not valued women seem to be taking small steps in valuing them. I don't know how that's gonna go. It might not go anywhere. But you know, Saudi Arabia have given women license to drive a car. Iran was maybe gonna take up saying that basically when fathers kill their own daughters for having brought shame to the family, that should be seen as murder and that they should be going to prison for that. It's actually being brought up in debate, which is negative that they has to have a debate about it, but positive that it isn't simply ignored completely. You gotta look at the positives. At least I think so. But here's the thing. I won't pretend that what you're doing, Jk Rowling, when you're saying these tweets, that it isn't against trans people and trans women in particular. You have like tweets made by self-proclaimed TERFs. A TERF is a trans-exclusionary radical feminist. Now, I want to make sure to make the distinction between a radical feminist and a trans-exclusionary radical feminist. What is a radical feminist? Well, that I could make a whole video about, but in short, radical feminists were much more biological than the feminists who came before. The suffragettes were more workers' rights and the rights for women to vote. Radical feminists have fought for women's reproductive rights, birth control, and abortion. Seeing as this is very ingrained in radical feminist minds of what a woman is, it isn't surprising, really, that some think trans women are not women because of it. I mean, seeing as a woman's biological reproductive system is very ingrained in radical feminist minds of what a woman is, it isn't surprising, really, that some think trans women are not women because they don't have that the same way. Like I've said before, a lot of other women don't have periods either. When I read your tweets, they actually reminded me of the speech that the character Phyllis Schlafly, I can't say her name. Sorry. I know she's based on a real person, but this is from a speech from the show Mrs. America, which is a great series, which I recommend you watching if you want to. So I'm not sure if the actual real Phyllis, if she actually said this. It wouldn't be surprising, honestly, but I wouldn't know. Here are parts of the speech towards the end of the first episode of Mrs. America, a speech by Phyllis. Let me be clear, I am not against women succeeding. I am not against women working outside the home. That's their choice. But what I am against is a small elitist group of northeastern establishment liberals putting down the homemakers. Now, the liberals love to say that they're dedicated to choice, but if you dare to choose the path of full-time mother, well, there must be something wrong with you. And also this part, talking about, again, the female liberation movement. Now, they want to use our miraculous Constitution to create a sex-neutral society through this so-called Equal Rights Amendment. The Equal Rights Amendment. The audacity of their request. I'll read it. Section 1. Equality of rights under the law shall not be denied or abridged by the United States or by any state on account of sex. Section 2. The Congress shall have the power to enforce by appropriate legislation the provisions of this article. Section 3. This amendment shall take effect 2 years after the date of ratification. Wow, the nerve of these women to want to be treated equally in the eyes of the law. The ERA did not pass, by the way. Oh, and I'm not sure if it has passed yet, even. It might have, but it depends on if they got enough states to agree, and if the states agreed in a legally way, without breaking, changing stuff, which I wouldn't know. I haven't gone in and looked. What I do know is the 38th state to ratify it was Virginia, which might be enough, but it might not be. And even if it did pass this year, it would, like I said, still not be in effect until the year 2022. Now, I'll admit that the laws about trans people are more complicated than a simple constitutional law. But what are they really wanting? It entails identity documents, marriage rights, and anti-discrimination measures in areas of employment, education, housing, and services. So, up until 1970, transgender people could have identity documents informally amended, but it was 1978, not allowed. And after 2002, because of a ruling by the European Court of Human Rights, the Parliament of the UK passed the Gender Recognition Act of 2004 to allow people to apply to change their legal gender. Anti-discrimination measures have existed since 1999. In 2010, gender reassignment was included as a protected characteristic in the Equality Act. And then with the 2013 same-sex marriage, they didn't have to divorce. That is it. Now, the people that you have taken contact with and supported and stuff like that, they have said things like, trans women are men, trans men are women. That's not transgender inclusive. That is trans exclusive. There are multiple people in videos which go into this much better and how this actually affects trans people. I'm not trans myself. I wouldn't know from personal experiences. I have none of that. I don't even live in the UK, so I wouldn't know. Like I said, I'm confused as to why I'm making it, but I felt like I just needed to speak my mind. I'll leave links in the description to videos which actually go into the discrimination that trans people go through, go into this much better than I do, because I just can't find the words for it, and they did. And it's actually by trans people, which... So, my point really is, Jk Rowling, please stand up for women and continue to do so, but please don't do it in a way that hurts trans people or adds fuel to those who abuse trans people, especially trans women. I believe in freedom of speech. I think we all would learn a lot more about one another if we actually could listen to other people's opinions who disagree with us in a respectful way. That is very important. Nothing which is saying, you're stupid for having this opinion. No. It could be ignorant. It's not the same thing as stupid. And in today's society with our social media, it's very easy to be ignorant. We're all ignorant. Some of these things aren't great. I'm a person. I make mistakes. I probably made mistakes in this video, but I felt like I wanted to say it anyway. Also, there's this protest thing going on. There's coronavirus. Maybe you should just focus more of your energy on pressing matters which people are actively, maybe actually being able to make a positive change in. And there's bigger problems than what you're bringing up too, like the complete destruction of the Amazon rainforest, which seemed to be largely ignored due to the important protests. I've said the things I thought of, but there will be links in the description for videos you can watch, which gives their ad revenue as donations for Black Lives Matter, which is nice. If you can't donate, that's nice. Also, you can sign petitions on change.org. But when you pay there, it isn't donation. It is making sure that it's basically it's marketing. You're paying for marketing, so that they recommend the petition to other people. I'm ending it now. Bye.